Hey there, everybody. I am the creator of Ignite Your Podcast Power, the Udemy course, and I'm going to share with you exactly how to start a podcast in 3 simple steps. And not just any podcast, but a podcast that allows you to potentially start earning income overnight. Yes, that's right. I know it sounds too good to be true, but continue watching this video and you will find out exactly how. You will have all the tools necessary that you need to start your very own podcast. So if you like the sound of your voice, if you have ideas that you want to get out to the world, if you have a story that you just simply, maybe you don't even like the sound of your voice, but you have a story that you'd like to tell, a narrative fiction, and you want to get a couple friends together to get around, start a podcast, tell a story, create an audio podcast narrative fiction in a style of like a radio play or something like that. If you want to interview people for a specific topic, if you want to get your message out and help people in the world with whatever you have to share, then a podcast is an amazing way to do it because you don't have the huge startup costs of visual equipment. You don't have to do that much editing depending on the type of podcast that you want. All you need is these 3 simple steps. And again, you will find the exact way in this video of how you can get started and start to have potential advertising revenue coming in right away. Like you get your first podcast uploaded and you start sharing with friends and you can start having your podcast making revenue. Now, first thing, this isn't step 1. This is even before step 1 is the foundation. What do you want to start a podcast about? Chances are you've got at least a dozen ideas in your mind. You don't need to master the example right now. You don't have to make a perfect decision right now and say this is exactly what I'm going to start a podcast on. But just take a second, focus, pick one idea that you could potentially like. It could be anything, something that you're interested in, something that your friends ask you for help on. Maybe it's advice on style, fashion. Maybe you're constantly up to date on the news. Maybe you just love history or science or sports, whatever topic that is. Just make a decision right now, because as you go through the rest of this video, you're going to start having ideas and things are going to start aligning for you. Things are going to start making sense for you and you're going to be focused. And by the end of this, if you take this one simple step, you will feel ready and prepared to start your very own podcast and potentially start to earn income from advertising on it. Now, the first step is simply to get all of your tools together. So I'm just going to share some of the quick tools that I use. The first tool is this device right here. This is a pop filter. And what this does is it helps you to not have popping sounds when you're speaking into a mic, because microphones can be sensitive, and you can actually substitute this with like a nylon sock or something, but I got the pop filter, and what it does is it allows you to speak. So when you say your P's and your B's, that it doesn't have the sounds, as you're speaking into it. That is very handy. It improves the quality of your podcast. Now, technically, you don't even necessarily need this equipment. You just need anything that can basically record audio and a computer that can upload to the internet. But we're going to dive in a little bit so that we can get you a little bit more professional quality podcast audio right from the beginning. But again, you don't necessarily need this equipment, but it does come in handy. It makes the quality of your podcast sound just a little bit more professional, especially if you're going to be interviewing people, and it just gives that extra impression that you are a professional and you're ready to be a podcaster. So with that, by the way, I have the course Ignite Your Podcast Power, and I've been podcasting for a few years, and I've been interviewed dozens and dozens of people, and I've got over 120 or 30 episodes on my podcast. So check that out. That's Strategic Possibilities. Now, and I've had the opportunity to interview some amazing people that can help in a business, professional life, and all that. So with that said, simple device can have a huge impact, and it hooks into, I can actually connect this to my microphone. I'll show you exactly how, but technically this should connect to a table or some type of stand or bar. With that said, we're going to move on to the next item. Now, this you don't necessarily need either, but I like to protect my equipment, keep the dust off it, keep dirt off it. This is a case-link case to hold my microphone. So you could use any kind of case, just find one that actually fits your device. So we're gonna pop this open. It's a zipper device. It's pretty sturdy. I like this one. It's got a little bit of a hard shell. It's not completely hard, but it's hard enough where I think if it was to fall, it would save the device. So we've got this casing device. It's got the handle, just a zipper system. You've got a couple pieces here to hold some of the equipment. Now, this device itself does come with a piece here. You're gonna see these two pieces here. Does not come with a headset. I highly recommend having your own headphones so you can plug directly into it. So I just use this pair of headphones. Sometimes I use a bigger one, but you've got your headphones and you've got the device that literally just connects from your USB. Now, there are a few types of headphones. Some people say that, this direct connection USB isn't the best type of headphone to use. Like if you move into much, much, much higher levels of podcasting, maybe you get your own studio and you move into that level, or you're producing for a major influencer who wants to start their podcast, then you might want to use a different type of microphone, a microphone that connects directly into a device that handles the audio, as opposed to this one that connects directly into your computer. It would be a digital microphone versus the other type of microphone. So with that, can't remember the exact name of that microphone right now. I'm not necessarily a sound guy, but if you become a sound person, if you become like an audio visual person, you need to master the skills of audio equipment, then you're gonna know tons and tons of more microphones. But right now, what I want to help you do is to start a podcast, not become an audio sound engineering master. You don't need to be an audio sound engineering master to do a podcast, but at someday you might want to hire one if you decide to upgrade your studio or anything like that. Now what this case holds is a Yeti microphone. This is the Blue Yeti microphone. Now I've been using this. I love this microphone. It does some great quality sound. Now I have had people speak into or people talk about like very successful like sound engineers be able to tell the difference between this microphone and a lesser quality microphone and a higher quality microphone, a super professional like $2,000, $5,000 microphone. There are differences. They can hear the quality, but as far as doing podcasts and interviews, this is a fantastic starter professional, like mid-professional level microphone for podcasting. And all you need to do, so there's two pieces here. You put this piece into your, you plug your sound device in there, your headphones, and then you plug your other piece into here that connects directly into the USB. You have to connect it into your laptop or computer. Now there are other microphones. If you don't want to use a microphone that connects into your computer, if you don't have the right system, then you can either record on your mobile device, or you can find a microphone that's portable and you can record on that. So that's a whole different topic, but this is just a starter system. You could possibly purchase like a much lower cost version, or just a portable recording device for your sound. But that's a different topic again. You can go ahead and explore till your heart's content on what type of microphones to use. But this one connects very easily directly into your computer, and you simply use any recording system. You can use Audacity. You can use simple recording systems. I think there's some that come with Adobe Premiere Pro. Anything that can record sound, you can use. You can even use Zoom if you want to do basic, simple interviews with other people and record it. So you can hook this up, connect to Zoom. Zoom will record the entire interview of you with the other person, and you've got an amazing podcast episode right there. So as you can see, this flips up and down, easy to use. It does have this hole at the top. I'll share with you a little bit about it in a second, but I'm gonna tighten this a bit. So you want to make sure that these two screws or these two pieces are stuck in properly. And on top of that, you might have noticed this big hole right here. This is for a stand. If you end up getting your own stand, you would plug it right into there. I don't use a stand. I don't really need to, but you definitely can if you really want to create that studio feeling, or if you start to, have guests come to your studio or whatever. It just adds that extra snap and bang and boom, whatever. But I haven't necessarily needed it, so I don't really use it. Now there are two functions right here that I'm going to share with you, actually four. Right in the front, you've got a volume. This is the volume of the sound that goes into your headphones, and then you've got a mute button right here. I don't use this button too much because I can just mute myself without it. But this can also make like a clicking sound sometimes when you're on an interview with somebody. So because this is a very sensitive microphone. Now on top of that, you do have this thing in the back. Gain, which is how much the microphone, how powerful you want the microphone to be, basically. So if you want to start recording sound and you're going to be sitting maybe further away from it, or you've got like two people sitting by your microphone, and you want to put the microphone in the center of you, but you don't want to be sitting right next to each other, then you want to turn up the gain so that the both of you can speak from a distance and the microphone will still pick up some sound. But be careful, because the more you turn up gain, the more sound it will pick up. For example, if you're in a house, if you start to turn this on, you turn the gain way, way, way up, and you live like in an apartment or a house, you can start to hear the sounds outside. I haven't ever really tried to listen to a conversation or whatever, but you can sometimes hear words, but I don't, do that type of stuff, right? But you can sometimes hear like people walking by on the street or whatever. So it does get very sensitive, and with that, it's a consideration to think about. So with that, and by the way, just think about it. If you have a friend who has a very powerful, sensitive microphone like this, know that they could possibly listen. So from another room. Now, with that said, we've got another. That's how powerful microphones are. Like, it's amazing how sensitive microphones can be, which is why having some silence in your area is very helpful. Now, in terms of equipment, before we move any further, we're going to discuss the idea of sound. So, of course, if you have your own studio, a soundproof studio, if you can afford that, that's the best possible thing you can do. The second best would possibly having your own little recording booth, or a makeshift recording booth that prevents sound from coming in. The third possible worst case scenario is you can do it in a closet. I know some people who have recorded podcasts in their closet because you close the closet, the clothes prevent some sound dampening or whatever. But again, we're still on step one, getting the equipment together. And again, you don't necessarily need all this equipment. If you really wanted to, you could literally just record on your phone, and then upload it directly from your phone, your mobile device. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that, what tools to use. But with that said, because you're not going to get this overnight unless you decide to go to the store, Best Buy, Walmart, if they're open, whatever stores or electronic stores are open 24/7, you'd have to go pick it up. So there's some of that involved, or you might want to do some planning. But anyway, these three huge important functions of the Blue Yeti that I absolutely love, and these are called the patterns. So as you can see right there on the bottom, they're called patterns. And what it is allows you to collect sound in 4 different ways. So one of the ways is just all around sound. So it collects sounds all around the mic. The second way is it's only one direction. So you only collect sound from one direction. This is helpful if just you are speaking to the mic. The other one is if you want to collect all around sound. And there are 2 more. I don't know exactly what the fourth one is, but the third one allows you to collect sound from 2 different directions. So you'll have sound, so it's great if you have a person on the other side of the microphone. So if you're doing an interview with a person and you're face to face, or side to side or angled or whatever, that's one way you would use this microphone. It's got one other function I can't remember exactly, but there's so many great uses for this microphone, and it picks up sound amazingly. It's a little bit heavy. It feels about like maybe 5 to 8 pounds. I could be overestimating that, but something like 5 pounds. It feels like 5 to 10 pounds. somewhere in that area. But I think most of the weight comes from the stand that keeps it safe. The stand is like very, very sturdy stand. The microphone is very high quality. So yeah, when you're ready, you turn these knobs, flip it up as you saw earlier, and there you've got your microphone ready to go. And as I mentioned earlier, what I do is I literally just connect this to and connect this into this device there, and we're ready to go. But that's just my makeshift way of doing that and producing some of my podcast episodes. And it's a great way. It gives you great high quality sound. And this is something that is a starter entry price that you can do right away. Now, step 2. Now that you've got your equipment, hopefully you either see how simple it can really be and you've got your equipment. The biggest thing that can prevent somebody from feeling that they can't start a podcast is this idea that, oh, I don't have the right equipment. I don't have the right ideas. I'm not comfortable with my voice. Maybe I need some more voice training or whatever it is. Shut that stuff down now. Like do yourself a favor and shut those doubts down now. Because if you start a podcast, your first episodes are probably not going to be perfect. Like obviously, if you can perfect your very first episode right from the beginning and, you can continue a perfect episodes month after month after month after month or whatever, then that's fantastic. But you don't necessarily need to. Some people are just happy to hear your ideas. Your friends or your family are just happy to see you doing something creative. You're going to feel good just to get started on that podcast. Just imagine how good it's going to feel to say you have your very own podcast. So right now, we've got 2 more steps to go. I'm going to share with you exactly how you can get your podcast onto all the major platforms: Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Apple, all of those. Like when you say that your podcast is distributed to all those platforms and you can find your podcast on any of those platforms, it makes you sound like a professional, and you're going to know precisely how before the end of this video. And I am condensing most of my training into this video, where I expand on some of these topics a little more and I show exactly how to do it in my course, Ignite Your Podcast Power. But at the end of the day, these are the main ideas. So if you are an action taker, if you take action right away, then you're going to be ready to start your podcast and potentially get some advertisers or get some advertising revenue. You're going to have an advertiser, but you're going to potentially get some advertising revenue right after this video. So with that, step 2, the software and platforms. Now, the simplest platform is Anchor.fm. I've tried probably three other software platforms and I was paying out a ton of money each year to try to upload and build a website and do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, the way people consume podcasts is they don't necessarily visit a website. They go on their Spotify, they go on Apple Podcasts, they go on their podcast consumption platform, and they look up podcasts. They don't necessarily go to podcastwebsite.com. That's a made-up website, or maybe it does exist, but they don't go to that website.com and then just look up podcasts. They might go to their favorite influencer who has a podcast and see that podcast episode posted. But if people are discovering podcasts, if people are listening, if people want to search podcasts, they literally just type in podcast name into these search engines, and when whatever comes up, they end up clicking on, and then they listen to the podcast episode. So how do you get all of that information onto the internet? I'm going to share with you the tool is Anchor.fm. This tool is an amazing lifesaver. It is a time saver. Don't even bother looking up any other platforms. I love to say, you could do the research yourself, definitely do the research yourself, but you don't really need to look up any other platforms unless you have some considerations, like you're a huge influencer and you want to negotiate a huge deal and someone wants to pay you $5 million to work on their platform or whatever. But you don't even need to do any more research. I like to say, for the microphones, I'll say, do your research on a product. You could find another microphone, but I've done a ton of work on trying to find the right podcast. I've tried to build the blogs and, do the feed and, figure out how to implement the website and do all the technical stuff. And then I had to figure out how to get it distributed. Oh my goodness, that is a headache. Don't worry about that. Go straight to anchor.fm. That's anchor.fm. That is a podcast platform open or owned by Spotify. And what that does, you can literally download the app on your phone and you can record audio, your podcast episode directly from the anchor.fm part, and it'll upload. That is how easy it is. But we're going to talk a little bit. And once you realize that that's how easy it is, it's as simple as figuring out how to connect to create a higher quality podcast. It's as simple as uploading, connecting your microphone to your device, doing your podcast episode recorder. Because if you want video, then obviously you have to do a video, then you have to extract the sound, and then you have to possibly edit it or whatever. However, anchor.fm allows you not just to upload your episode, but allows you to edit it. It has like some simple editing tools. You're not gonna do some complex editing, like if you have a story or audio story, like two people, characters talking, or 3 characters. You can't do anything like that in an easy way compared to if you use something like Adobe Premiere and edited sound, or if you use some other like Audacity, which is free. But you can do some editing. It also gives you some music that you can play with for intros, outros, middle sections. That is how amazing. I can't. There's so much good in anchor.fm. It is a money saver. It is a lifesaver. And if you dream of starting a podcast, if that is your goal, if you have talked about it forever and ever and ever and ever, like, just visit the website and you will be inspired, because somebody created that and it is absolutely amazing. Somebody made that for the person who wishes and desires to start a podcast. It's amazing what they're doing. So you got your tools. You got your software, anchor.fm. That is a website. You literally upload it on there. It's that easy. If you can upload a video or you can upload a picture onto social media, you can upload your podcast there. And then there's some editing features you might want to learn. But besides that, here's the great thing is once your podcast starts to get going, if you get because these other podcast platforms want you to be serious, right? You want to see that they're not just, dealing with some spammer or some random podcasting. But what happens is if you post it onto there, first of all, it automatically distributes across all anchor.fm. So anchor.fm is a professional, obviously, a podcasting website, but it also distributes to Google, Apple, Pocket Casts, radio. I can't remember the other platform, radio something, Google Podcast. It automatically distributes to at least 5+ of the different major platforms, as well as Spotify. How amazing is that? Now, in order to get it approved on some of these other distributors, you do have to have a certain number of a certain type of criteria. They have to look at your podcast and realize that you're serious, that maybe you have a certain amount of listeners. I don't know the exact numbers. They don't post that. But get on anchor.fm. It's as simple as going to a page about distribution and you click some buttons, and it's just like self-explanatory. You get your podcast sent out to the world, so that if anybody looks up your podcast episode or your name, that podcast episode is going to start popping up. That is how amazing it is. You don't have to do the complex work of meta tags, and I'm just making up words from search engine optimization. You don't have to figure that out. I mean, you do want titles and descriptions that are relevant to the audience and to your podcast, but you don't have to take all that time to try to figure out how it's going to rank on search engines. It just automatically does. So it is a powerful tool. As someone who's built websites and try to figure all that stuff out and try to study the marketing and spent hours and tons of money on studying that stuff, you don't need to do it with anchor.fm. Again, if you have the relevant words, if you have the relevant description, if your content is good, then it's going to populate. And what I mean by populate is the search engines are going to be able to find it, and the different podcast platforms are going to be able to find it. So with that, we've got the first 2 steps out of the way. Step 1 and step 2. Step 1, simply equipment. Step 2 is simply the platform and software. So you upload on anchor.fm. You can use tools like Audacity to edit, and even Zoom to record interviews. Whew! All right. If if you need a break, go ahead and pause this video to let that all sink in. But that's really not that much information that you've received. You've basically got the tools, which, this is just extra tools that are a luxury, if you really need or want. And then number 2 is Anchor.fm. Now let's talk about how you're going to make an income from it. So there's a few ways to make an income with a podcast. First is either you're offering products or services on it. So you're selling products that you already own and people could buy like merchandise, and you talk about that on your podcast. An advertiser pays you directly. So say you have a podcast, you've got a ton of followers, and they say, hey, listen, we want to give you $100 to make an episode for us or make a pitch for us on your podcast, and just do a quick commercial. And all you need to do, we're in step number 3 now. All you need to do is audio record that device or audio record that episode, and then put it into your podcast. So you can cut any part of the podcast, you can edit out the sound, and you plug that one piece, that one commercial segment into your podcast wherever you want, and that's it. So it really is that simple. But obviously, the people that are paying you want to know, like, what are you saying? They want to have some input on like the script and where they get to put it, whether at the beginning, the end, the middle, whatever it is, and the type of episodes that they're putting it on. But it really is that easy. So how do you get advertising income right from the beginning? Well, here is why Anchor.fm is so darn amazing. Now, Anchor.fm has this amazing advertising method where they have an advertiser right from the beginning, where if you record a advertisement, they have an advertisement with a script that they want you to say. So you say that script and you read it into a microphone or whatever, and you save it, and you can put that onto any podcast episode. And whenever someone listens to that segment, that advertising segment, then you get a small portion of the advertising revenue. You get an advertising income. How beautiful is that? So say you got a podcast, you got your device, you record it however, you upload it to Anchor.fm, you record that audio, and you post it onto your podcast episode. Then you take that podcast episode, you share it with all of your friends and your family, and they all listen to it and they all get excited about it. You can start earning income right away. Anchor will start to track that right away. How amazing is that? It is absolutely beautiful that anybody that wants to start a podcast, that has the desire to do so, can start podcasting right from their very own living room, right now from their very own device, and they can also go ahead and start potentially earning an income. Now, obviously, you need lots and lots of viewers, listeners. You need a lot of listeners in order to start making a lot of money, but at least this is a way to get started. And if you want a hot tip right now, I'm going to share with you a opportunity here. So one other way you can use podcasts that is an opportunity is something called affiliate marketing. Now, what affiliate marketing is, one big example is Amazon. Amazon has an affiliate marketing program. So what you can do is on your podcast, go ahead and talk about specific products. So if you were to do your own segment, say, you wanted to talk about, if you're a tech, or let's say you make a podcast about books, and you want somebody to buy a book, or you want to promote a book on your podcast. So you can go to Amazon.com, Amazon, right? You go to the website on Amazon, you join the affiliate program, you go on to Amazon's affiliate program, which I'm part of as well. And then you look up a product, like that, the name of that book that you want, you get the link for it, the affiliate link for it, and you mention it in your podcast episode. So you can say something like, oh, and in this episode, I'd like to feature a recommended book, and you can find it on Amazon at and then you can get a special link like but Amazon.com/ZX3TJY. That's kind of confusing because Amazon has to make links for everybody who decides to become affiliate, but that's what Amazon links usually look like. It's like the back end for affiliate links is a little bit more, it's not easy to remember, but there are alternatives. If you use Amazon, you can create a custom link or something. Actually, I'm not positive if Amazon allows you to create like a custom link. So that is just an option for you, though. When I say custom link, what I mean is you go to like a website that allows you to create an alternative link, like bit.ly or something, and you put something and like book recommendation 1. So it'd be like bit.ly/book recommendation 1, and you would plug that into your podcast advertising episode, and anybody that goes to bit.ly/book recommendation 1 and buy something off Amazon or the book, then you earn a portion of the commission. Now, here's the thing, just Amazon, the commission or the affiliate program is constantly changing. Look up the rules, look up the information, make sure that you're following the rules, because you do have to put a disclaimer that you are an Amazon affiliate. You do have to share that with people, so depending on where you put that into your episode, and there are certain limitations to where you can put it, so it might be possible that at some point in the future they don't allow you to put it on the podcast, which I don't know why they would, but just in case, this is some information to know. But from here, you can have your own podcast. You're ready to produce and distribute your very own podcast episodes, your stories, your information. Get it on anchor.fm and start earning an income from it. Congratulations. Thank you for watching this video. And be sure to potentially even check out the course, Ignite Your Podcast Power, on Udemy, and have a wonderful day.